Hello, everybody. This is Mike Portnoy, whose butt you see right there in the dark. Welcome to the audio commentary for the drum cam version of Score, and I am joined by none other than Mr. Mike Brown.
Hello, everyone.
For those of you that don't know, well, of course you know. If you bought this DVD, you must be at my website. But Mike Brown is the webmaster of MikePortnoy.com, and he's also the person that put together this DVD for me and for you. So thank you, Mike.
Hey, anytime.
Now, you've seen this footage, obviously, because you compiled this. I haven't seen this in a long time. This footage was recorded April 1st, 2006, and we are recording this commentary in November 2008. So this is actually 2.5 years ago. I can't believe it's been 2.5 years already.
That was a great show. Flew out to New York for that one. It was a lot of fun putting this together. Brought back a lot of good memories.
You think this brought back good memories for you? You can't imagine what this is like for me. This show, I mean, I've said it a million times in interviews, but this, out of the 1,000+ shows that Dream Theater has played, this is absolutely, easily in the top 3, and very, very possibly number 1.
What are the other two?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Just throwing some numbers out?
Yeah. But this is definitely one of the best moments in Dream Theater history, one of the proudest moments in my personal career history, and it was just one of those nights where all the stars were aligned. It was the final night of the tour, which is always exciting. It was New York, which is always exciting. It was at Radio City Music Hall, which is a place that we've always dreamed of playing.
We had sold out in minutes.
It sold out way in advance. We had an orchestra there, which was unbeknownst to the audience at the time, but so it was special in that respect. We were filming a DVD. I mean, just it was, everything was happening,
and everything turned out just about perfect.
Yeah, there was a million reasons why this could have been completely disastrous, but it ended up being everything I hoped it would be. So, I guess I'll start with Radio City Music Hall. I mean, any of you that were there that night saw how incredibly beautiful this place is. It's a really special venue that very few rock bands get to play, much less metal bands. I mean, the only bands I've seen there were The Who. I saw Iron Maiden there, Rush several times. But very, very few rock or metal bands get to play there. It's just an unbelievably beautiful venue.
That was my first time there, and I was pretty blown away by how well everything was put together, and just a really awesome building.
Where were you sitting for this show?
I was with your sister.
Oh, really?
To your right, probably.
Were you with my whole family?
No, Marlene and the kids were in the middle, and we were off to your right, kind of in front of Jordan.
By the way, you just saw me spit. I'm probably the first person ever in the history of Radio City Music Hall to spit on the stage.
Right. I'm sure they were happy about that.
And that was the first of many stick throws, and
you caught the majority of them.
Yeah, I had a very good stick ratio that night. But the first throw, this entire tour, the Octavarium tour, we always opened with this song. And that was always the first stick of the night that I always threw. And the first stick is always symbolic of how the rest of the night's going to go. And when I caught that one, I was like, okay, this is going to be okay. And there behind me, you could see Eric Disrude, my great drum tech, who wishes he was here this evening to do the commentary. But he's currently on tour with Carrie Underwood, of all artists. He goes from Dream Theater to Carrie Underwood, but that's the life of a crew guy.
At least he's got something nice to look at.
Well, the kit that he's currently setting up is like a 4-piece kit. So
he's bored.
No, he's having a nice little holiday from Dream Theater, but he'll be ready to set up a new monster soon. But Eric is, he's been with me for many years now, and you've seen detailed interviews with him on the In Constant Motion DVD, but he's really an incredibly hard worker and
he's a really great guy.
Yeah, he's a really good, spirited person, good, positive. No matter how insane I might get, or if things are going wrong, or if I'm freaking out, he always manages to calm me down and be a good influence.
So this was the second tour he was with you, right?
Yeah.
Or was it the first?
No, this was his first full tour with
Yeah.
me, actually. Yeah.
Right.
He joined me at the end of the Train of Thought tour for the Yes leg and a few other shows that summer. And then he did the whole Octavarium tour, and then obviously the whole Systematic Chaos tour, which we are now past at this point as well. Oh man, there's so many things to talk about. I don't know where to start. I could talk about that jersey right there. This every night on tour, I get given a local jersey. You know, if we're in New York or Boston or wherever, and I get to keep it. But obviously, this was a really special one, and I wanted to have the number 8 because it was the Octavarium tour. And then actually,
Right.
I in retrospect, I kind of wished it was the number 20 because the whole
20,
theme of
right.
Score was 20, 20th anniversary. But for some reason, the local promoter got me number 1, which probably makes me look rather conceited. But I didn't choose the number, and I still have that jersey upstairs for safekeeping. Someday I'll do something cool with it, give it to my kids, or auction it off for a charity or something. But
So the local promoters always set up your jerseys, or
yeah, it's
management, or
it's on the rider that
okay.
that every day in the dressing room, you know, for me to wear for the show is a local basketball jersey or baseball jersey.
not into the hockey jerseys.
It's hard to play with hockey jerseys. I don't like playing with sleeves. That's why my favorite are basketball jerseys because they're, you know,
Totally,
tank,
yeah.
so it's much more comfortable for me to play in. Oh god, there's so much stuff to cover. Where do you want to start? You can see this kit is my white albino monster. I guess this would be the last show I played with it, actually. Being it was the last night of the tour. Oh, Maggie's just come to join us.
And she brought treats.
She's got a bone with her. Hi, Maggie. This was filmed. I was gonna say before you were born. No, but you were already born. But anyway, that's my albino monster, and we had a camera mounted on each side, which was only set up about 5 minutes before the show began.
Really?
The film crew was struggling to get those cameras mounted on the kit, and the doors were open, and they were still behind the curtain working on the kit. And there was about 10 minutes until showtime, and they came to me like, "We're not going to be able to do this. Can we have a guy standing on the stage?" I was like, "No way." You know, we had that for the
Right.
Metropolis DVD, and I hated that. So I was like, almost having to accept the fact that there weren't going to be drum cams, and for some reason, at the last minute, they were able to get them mounted.
They mount them directly to your drum rack, or are they on a stand by themselves?
I think they're
couldn't
on
really
a
tell.
on a stand on the rack system.
Well, it looks
So-
like you just switched sides.
No, I'm still on
no, you just got it for a
the
second.
small side. Yeah, you can see me counting the band in on the cowbell. Most people out there know that I have an electronic pad on either side of the kit that only the band members and our lighting director and video people can hear, and I count everybody in, and so in between songs when there's an intro tape, or in that case where another instrument is playing, I'll count everybody in. Now there's a moment coming up here. That first song, I didn't even comment. If you looked at my face, I was just blown away by that sight of being at Radio City Music Hall. And
You're definitely having some fun.
yeah, I mean, you can watch this. I'm definitely having fun. But it was this now, you know, with one song out of the way, now the show is underway. It's time to start settling in and enjoying the moment. And this was the first moment that I actually see my family in the audience.
That's what I was gonna say.
And
Looks like you're waving the.
Yeah, right at this moment is the moment I see Marlene and Max and Melody, and I wave to them right here. Just spotted them. Hey guys. And this is shortly before Max fell asleep. I think Max only made it through 2 or 3 songs at this show.
That's pretty par for him, though, right?
Well, actually, on this tour, he used to fall asleep pretty easily, but on the Systematic Chaos tour, he started to stick around for the whole show.
Cool.
I guess as he's getting older, he's actually enjoying it now. He enjoyed it then, too, but it was just late for him.
Right.
But you can see the number 16 on there and the number 23 on the tom. That was tribute to one of my favorite shows of all time, Lost. And those are the Hurley's lucky numbers, which are 4, 8. Was it 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 43, I think. I had them all over my drums for this whole tour.
You got me on that one.
Oh, and if you look right before I got the mic, I look at my first floor tom. That's because I have these two lyrics, the lyrics written on the first floor tom. What's beneath the surface bleeding and what's beneath the pain you're feeling. I used to always mix up those two lines.
So you got them in like the order that you...
Yeah, so Eric wrote them on the first floor tom.
Nice.
And so if you go back there, you can see me take a peek. I'm really, really good at remembering lyrics. I usually have no problem with that, but every once in a while there'll be like a couple lines that I mix up, and that's one that still consistently to this day I still mix up. Now, if you don't already know, there's another alternate track on this DVD where you can actually just hear the drums and my vocals.
Yeah, I thought that was cool this time, that it was actually the vocals were in there too.
And my vocals are live. I don't overdub my vocals on these live recordings. I'm almost positive everything that's on here was live and not tuned or anything like that. And I think they sounded all right. That's a particularly hard thing to do right there. Doing ahs and holding an ah for a long period like that while drumming is a very hard thing to do. Singing in pitch and singing words is much easier than holding an ah for, over 4 bars or something.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Anyway, you could also see the rearview mirrors mounted on the kit. That was to come and play later with the orchestra. But ever since this show, I've actually kept them on the kit because I thought it was a really good thing to be able to actually see the video screens behind me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. This was the first show you did that on.
This was the first time, yeah. And it was mainly to see the conductor and the orchestra, and I guess we'll be able to see that later on in the show. So this tour, the set list that I would write every night went chronologically because it was celebrating the 20th anniversary of the band. So we always opened with 1 or 2 songs from the Octavarium album, and at this point in the show, there's a video being shown on the screen that's running backwards. I think, did you put that video together?
I put the one from the last tour together, and it looks like this, but it looks like you guys just flipped it.
Right.
So I think it's the same video, just in reverse.
So at this point, the video is running backwards in time and brings us back to the very, very beginning, 1985. And the rest of the show, the rest of the night, other than the encore, runs chronologically through the band's career. And I would still switch the set lists every night and pick different songs from each era. But this was a true rarity. This is another one which is actually the very, very first song that myself and John Petrucci and John Myung ever wrote together. We wrote this at Berkeley back in fall of '85. It's the first song we ever wrote, and when doing this 20th anniversary tour, I brought up to the guys, hey, we should play the very first song that we wrote together, and I never in a million years thought that they would actually go for it, but here it is, on stage at Radio City Music Hall. Went from a practice room at Berkeley to the stage of Radio City. Pretty amazing.
I think that's when you know you've made it.
It's weird, just playing something that we wrote. We were 17, 18 years old when we wrote this song, and here we are in front of 6,000 people at, one of the coolest venues in the world. I mean, talk about dreams coming true. I mean, never in a million years we would have thought that when we were little teenage kids at Berkeley. And musically, it's almost exactly as we wrote it 20 years earlier. The only thing that's really different is James's vocal lines are slightly changed to match his range, because our first singer, Chris Collins, had this unbelievably high helium.
Like Jeff Tate.
Yeah, Jeff Tate on helium. So, a range which was, not realistic for James to be singing every night comfortably. So we adjusted some of the melody lines.
Was Kevin part of the band back when this was written? Or?
The first 6 months or so of the band, we were just a 3-piece. It was just me, John, and John, because we were at Berkeley. So we didn't have a singer.
Okay.
Kevin and Chris didn't join us till we got out of school. Well, Kevin joined us over Christmas break. So Christmas break of '85, '86, when we went home. Kev joined up with us, but we already had written this and a few other songs at that point. And then Chris Collins didn't join the band until we left Berkeley after 2 semesters, when we got home around May of '86, and that's when we recorded the Majesty demo. But Chris was only in the band basically that summer of '86. I think by fall of '86 we had already decided he wasn't going to cut the mustard and started looking for a new singer. And then about a year later is when we found Charlie.
And that demo is available on youtubejamrecords.com.
There you go. Mike, you're a good salesman.
Yeah,
Thank you.
My kid needs some new shoes.
It's going to pay for your kids' shoes. It's going to pay for my kids' college tuition.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, all of these demos are available on youtubejamrecords.com. But
What are we up to now? Can't even remember.
I think we have like 15 CDs and 3 DVDs or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
This part of the score DVD was all split screen between the bass and drums. Even this guitar solo is almost identical to the one that John played on the Majesty demos. It's just so weird to have, a great recorded and produced and mixed version of this song. After hearing the crappy 4-track demos from Berkeley, for all these years. If you watch the documentary on the actual score DVD, the closing credits actually have footage of us from back in '86 with Collins playing this live, intercut with this version. So
Must have slipped some things. I don't remember that.
really, the end of the documentary, the end credits.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again.
The only other song from the Majesty demo that we played in recent times is the second song from that demo called Your Majesty.
You've only played that once, though, right?
Right, we played it only one night. You could see me hitting the magic cowbell there to count the band in. Yeah, we played Your Majesty for one show in Paris back in 2002, because that's the name of the French fan club. And that is available on the CD that comes with the Images and Words Lifting Shadows biography special edition. There's a CD that comes with it. A little feedback there that made it onto the final cut. There's a good shot of the audience.
Yeah.
This is interesting for me to see because I haven't seen some of this footage in 2.5 years since editing, the full score DVD.
Yeah, so in addition to the 2 mounted cams, there's actually 2 guys behind Mike standing with cameras.
Right.
Like this
There's
shot
a
here.
handheld behind me and then the 2 mounted on me.
I think there's actually 2 handhelds behind you, but one, they kept going back and forth between you and the other guy,
So now, musically, we're going to 1989. Well, that's when this was released, but we recorded When Dream a Day and Night in '88. And I think on this tour we were doing Afterlife and Fortune and Lies were the 2 songs that kind of rotated in this spot of the show. You can see my Octavarium drink stand behind me, which was made by Mr. Victor Salazar at the drum pad, who's gotten into the habit.
That.
Yeah, it's a little Octavarium stop sign. He made me, I think the first one is that the first one he made me? I think he made that for me when I did the Cygnus and the Sea Monsters show. And then I took it with me for the whole tour, I'm pretty sure. And then since then he made me one for the Amazing Journey shows, he made me one for the Liquid Tension shows, he made me one for the Systematic Chaos tour. So he's gotten into this
So he's into woodworking.
tradition of he runs the drum shop at the drum pad. I guess I don't know if he makes them or he's got somebody that does them. But
Okay.
now you can see the gong behind me. The gong stayed behind me for the whole first set, but then we had to move it away for the second set with the orchestra because it would have been obstructing them. And you could see also there's a giant curtain behind us, so nobody knew there was an orchestra that night. That was something that was a surprise. So at this point, people just think it's just going to be another Dream Theater show.
I kind of had an idea just because it looked like the stage was so short.
Yeah, I mean,
something was back there.
The rumors are definitely out there.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the orchestra more later, but I know people were definitely talking about the possibility. This albino kit has special white Melody Master snares that were made for the kit, and subsequently I think they sold them to the public in limited editions.
I don't think they're out anymore. I looked pretty recently for...
Yeah, I think it was just limited edition. Yeah, I don't even know where that kit is right now. It's in Dream Theater storage, but we actually... I don't know. That would be an Eric question. Where's Eric when we need him? I don't know where that kit is, but I don't have room in my house for all my kits anymore. I've run out of room, so my last few Dream Theater kits are in Dream Theater storage.
Did you only have one of these, or did you have one like in each location like you used to do?
I'm pretty sure I had two of these white kits. Yeah, I'm almost positive of that. God, that's horrible that I don't even know for sure. Even white tambourines. I remember the first night of this tour in America with this kit, which was the first night of Gigantour back in summer of 05. Eric took it upon himself to make the creative decision of making all of the cords and the wiring on the kit white, all white cords. And it looked like somebody silly stringed my kit when I got to sound check, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And granted, on paper it's a good idea because we were going with the white kit and the white tambourines, and I'm wearing white wristbands, and so I guess on paper it was a good idea, but you don't realize that white actually, you'd think that it would have camouflaged and just... But,
I guess if it was a different shade of white, it would have stood out.
The black actually camouflages. That's why black cords are always used live on stage. So he had to replace and redo all the snakes and everything before showtime. And I said to him, I love you, and that was a great idea, but that's a perfect example of why don't ever make a decision on my behalf. And I think he learned from that moment on never to be creative. I always make fun of him. Please, leave the creating to me. Please, just make sure my Fiji water is cold, okay? I'll do the creating.
There's a nice close-up of the... Yeah, I totally lost it. Slick nuts. There we go.
Yeah, even the slick nuts, which were clear. I think little things like that, Eric makes a lot of suggestions for. I think like the clear ones on this kit. My first missed stick bounce of the night. Eric is looking for the stick right now. Where the hell did it go? He has to always keep an eye on any stray sticks so James doesn't slip on them and fall.
Yeah, that could be bad. That'd be kind of funny, but for that.
What am I doing there? Am I like counting the audience?
That's what it looked like.
This was really... I just want to take this in and enjoy this moment myself right now. Because I haven't really seen this footage since then. Since editing the DVD, the Dream Theater version. Now, we've played bigger shows. I mean, this is 6,000 people, which is a great size audience. But like for instance, in Europe, we play to audiences this size every night. But there was just something incredibly special about this night. It wasn't the size of the audience. It was just the circumstances and the surroundings. It was just to look out there and see that, and you know that it's all seriously hardcore fans.
Yeah, people flew from all around the world. And...
once word got out that we were filming a new DVD, I mean, people from everywhere came in because they wanted to just be part of it. So it wasn't just a typical New York crowd like when we play a normal New York show. This was really like a gathering of all the great Dream Theater fans from everywhere. Eric spraying my hands right there. The little roll on the cowbell tells the band members to get prepared that I'm about to count in. Alright, so now we move on to Images and Words. Under a Glass Moon. Trying to think of which Images and Words songs were in rotation for this tour. Probably most of them. Usually most of these songs are in rotation. But I wanted to have Under a Glass Moon at this particular show because we didn't have that on a live album yet. And when choosing a set list, yeah, I mean, it was, I don't think it was on a live album, no? I don't think so. It was on.
I thought it was.
It's on the Live in Tokyo DVD,
right?
But not any live
Not
CDs.
CD, okay.
So when choosing this set list, I kept the chronological approach, so that was one factor. The other big factor, and probably the biggest factor, is choosing songs that haven't been on a DVD or a CD yet. So that played into, you know, like Under a Glass Moon and some of the other songs that are about to come up. But, you know, so this actually probably isn't the greatest set list either. This isn't like a dream set list. You know, like a lot of people say, like the Metropolis 2000 Scenes from a Memory show, like that's a dream set list. It's got a change of seasons, it's got the whole scenes, it's got Learning to Live, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, so this show doesn't have, like, Pull Me Under, it doesn't have a change of seasons, it doesn't have a lot of quote-unquote fan favorites. But, you know, it was really important to have a set list that was going to make it a good, interesting DVD for the people that are going to buy this, because this is probably already, I think, our fourth or fifth live album or DVD at this point. So, and the rarities were, I think, a real good thing. You know, like Another One and Raise the Knife.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see Raise the Knife, and I never got sick of seeing 6 Degrees live. Every time, I think I saw 5 or 6 shows on this tour. And
oh, is this John's guitar went out there? Okay, for those of you that were at the show, you might know that John's got no guitar at this point, and that was why I was motioning to the monitor guy. I thought maybe it went out in my ears, but you'll see a look of panic on John's face probably if you see him in the background. We're all panicking right now, and unfortunately, his amp went out for whatever reason for about a minute during this song.
yeah, I do remember that.
And obviously, we couldn't leave that on the live CD and DVD, so he had to go back and overdub the missing parts. But I'm panicking right now. And if you think I'm panicking, John Petrucci was shitting his pants right
I
now.
can only imagine.
But he kept his cool. He kept playing, and he just looked to his tech to...
Did you have to switch anything out, or did it just come back on?
It came back on. I don't know. I don't remember what the problem was, but right now, everybody on stage left was completely scrambling. And trying to hear. I guess I'm not going to be able to hear anything because we fixed it. But it was one of those things. There were, you know, when you're only filming one show, you run the risk of shit going down and going wrong. But you know, actually, it's happened. If you look at the Live at Budokan DVD, I probably talk about this on the commentary we did for the drum cam for that. But Jordan had no keyboards for the first 2 minutes of the Budokan show. You know, and here we are filming the DVD, and you know, in front of 10,000 people. So shit like this happens, and you just gotta stick with the. Don't lose sight of the show. Keep performing, and you know, worst case scenario, you go back and fix it later. With the magic of audio recording. John Petrucci also had a bad cold this night. He was very, very sick. So if you watch there's no shots of the other guys on this drum cam DVD, but if you look at the Dream Theater version of Score, you'll see him constantly sniffling anytime there's a close-up on him.
Kind of like I am right now.
Yeah. Now, I can't remember if his guitar was back yet or not. But it might be, because it was only out for about a minute or so. This is a great guitar solo.
Yeah, this was always one of my favorites off this album.
One of the other really bad mishaps that night, that if you were in the audience you're aware of it, was we had problems with the video screen right before the show began. I think the computer for the video show went down as the show was beginning. So I think the first like 30 seconds of the intro video wasn't even up on the screen.
That's what happens when you use a Mac.
It was, you know, and I remember being on the side of the stage just freaking out, totally fucking panicking. And we'd had that problem before, earlier on the tour, and Bert Baldwin, who was doing our lights and video on this tour, I remember a couple of times when the computer went down at the start of the video, and I remember telling him, this, you know, you got to get on that. Like, this can't happen the night at Radio City Music Hall. This cannot happen at Radio City. This can't. And sure enough, I'm on the side of the stage, and it happens. And you know what? I haven't spoken to Bert since then. I think he was so panicked because he knew I was going to freak out. I haven't seen him since. This was his last show with us. Never saw him after the show, and he disappeared for a long time. He didn't work with us ever again after this tour.
Wow.
And I haven't seen him since. So I think
know him and Jordan were good friends.
Yeah.
Are they still in contact? Or
yeah, no, they still work together. But I haven't seen or spoken to Bert since this night, and I think it might have to do with that computer crash at the start of the show. Right now he's probably in the audience, like shitting his pants, knowing. But you could see the look on my face the minute I hit that stage. You know, it was like all bets were off.
Yeah.
It was like whatever, you know, let's just have fun. Oh, see, that's a shot I've never seen before, and no wonder that I haven't, because it really wasn't worth much.
I try to throw in some different angles every once in a while.
So now we move on to the Awake album with Innocence Faded, which is kind of an obscure tune, one of the more obscure songs from Awake. And up until this tour, it was not played often at all. Only played, I think, maybe a little bit on the Awake tour, but, well, maybe this is a setlist Scotty's question. He'd know this offhand. I don't remember offhand, but I know we hadn't played this much, and wanted to do this specifically for this show, just to have it on the DVD. But I think that was one of the main reasons I threw it into the set list towards the end of the Octavarium tour, to prepare for this, so we would have a live version of it.
If you want to know the exact number, you can use the tourography on mp.com and do a search for it, and it'll tell you exactly how many times it was played.
Yeah, that's an awesome feature. For those of you that don't know, how could you not know? But there's a tourography on mp.com, and you can put a name of a song in and hit search, and it'll tell you every show it was played at, how many times it's been played. You could put it in your city, you know, if you live in, you know, Dallas,
City, state,
Houston,
country, whatever.
and you could see every show that we played in any city or state or country. I think the most played songs, I think I once checked that out, it was Pull Me Under and Metropolis, obviously. Those are the
Yeah, I
two
can see
most
Pull Me
played.
Under.
But it was amazing. Here we are playing this historic 20th anniversary show, and there's no Pull Me Under.
It's been on a few DVDs.
Yeah, it's been on a few already, but it's nice to know that, like, even though that was such a big song in our history and our career, that we don't have to feel like we have to play it every night. You know, it's cool. As far as I'm concerned, it's just another song in the catalog. This is a cool double bass pattern right here. Bass is doubling it. It's a Max Stax right there. Available at a local music store near you. We're just plugging away here. Now this is an incredibly high vocal line here. One of the reasons that we don't play this song that often as well, because it's very... Here we go. That's one of the highest notes that in the whole Dream Theater catalog in the vocal department.
And he nailed it.
Yeah, he did it. He did on this tour. Every time we played it, he was able to get to it. But it's, you know, as we all get older, it's harder and harder to play some of the stuff that we've stupidly written. I don't know how we're going to be doing this stuff at 50 and 60 years old. Well, what am I saying? I guess one of us is already 50. I think I'm doing a falsetto there with a high falsetto harmony. I always regretted too that I didn't tuck my cord on the right side of my my right inner ear. I didn't actually tuck behind my ear like I normally do. So every time I watch the score DVD, I have this wire sticking out of my head.
You should get a black one and just blend it with your hair.
They actually make them all different colors and everything, but that's the skin color one.
Oh, okay.
For people that don't have long hair, I guess. Actually, I guess I had short hair when we started using inner ears. I think. I don't remember.
I think you started on the 6 Degrees tour with those, didn't you?
Right. And I think I had short hair then, or at least shorter than it is now. This ending is very Journey right there. It's a very Journey-esque
Yeah.
riff, like Stone in Love or something. I don't know in 2008 if we'd ever be able to get away with a Journey section. 94 it was still kind of okay.
I don't know. I still go for it.
Well, actually they're probably bigger than ever right now. I think their last album was actually really huge. But
I don't know.
Not really.
No Steve Perry, no Journey for me.
I was blown away with some of the Journey footage I saw from this last tour with Dean Castronova singing some of the really high vocal parts. I think he sang Faithfully and Mother Father and
Wow.
yeah, like incredible. This part also reminds me a little bit of Kansas and the Dixie Dregs. You can hear little dregs in Kansas and Journey here. I could, God, if you sit down with me and listen to any of our songs, I could point out the influence for every single riff. Sometimes it's obvious. I know some of our fans criticize us for that as well, but good one.
Got it.
Yeah, I had a very good stick bounce night, and it got better and better. Even some of the ones later are even better. I think I might be pointing to my dad right there. I'll tell you, one of the most vivid memories I have of this night was looking into the audience and seeing my dad Howard Portnoy, smiling ear to ear. I don't think I've ever seen him smile as much as he was that night. I mean, not even my wedding or when my kids were born. He just had this look on his face the entire night for the full 3 hours. Just of being so proud, and it was amazing. It was so cool to look out there and see.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Especially him, but God, my whole family. My wife, my children, my sister, aunts, uncles, cousins. Everybody came in for this show.
Second cousins, I think.
Yeah. Second cousins of third uncles that lived down the block, who's their third nephews. Right. Everybody came from out of the woodworks. So this is Raise the Knife, which is previously unreleased, or at least officially released or unreleased. And this is from the Falling Into Infinity sessions. And this was basically the Falling Into Infinity representative in the set list. Some of the nights on this tour we would do Peruvian Skies, or what else was in the mix on this tour? Speak to Me, which is another unreleased song from that era.
Love that song too.
But I knew that Raise the Knife needed to be at this particular show because it was nice to finally have a properly recorded and released version of it. This is the first song we wrote for the Falling Into Infinity album, and obviously it didn't make the album. We wrote a lot of songs that didn't make that album, but this was the very first one we wrote with Derek.
Why this one get cut? I have to say it's probably one of my favorites.
Why did it get cut, did you say? Well, I mean, I would have loved to have made that a double album and had everything on there, but inevitably, you know, some stuff had to get cut, and I don't know. That album was, you know, the label and Kevin Shirley, everybody was going for a little bit more of a commercial album, and this was a longer song, a little more progressive, so
Gotcha.
I would have liked to have had it on there, but, you know, that's the way the ball bounces, G. In the immortal words of Flava Flav.
I guess it's hilarious.
Maggie, I got your bone. Maggie fell asleep in my lap here. Now this song, the lyrics, I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but this first verse was written for Jim Patulski, who was our manager pre-Falling Into Infinity. And when we were making Falling Into Infinity, our two managers, Rob Shore and Jim Patulski, had a falling out and broke up their partnership, and we had to kind of choose one or the other, and Jim got out, I got outvoted, which is that line, I think, once again outnumbered. I can't remember the lyrics, but Jim, unfortunately, was on the short end of the stick of that marriage, and that divorce, I should say. So these lyrics were written for him, which I felt really badly about parting ways with him, because he was a very devoted, dedicated, and you know, just somebody that really got the band, and it was sad to see him go. But then the rest of the song is about Kevin Morris. Now, starting from this point, it's about Kevin, who also split with us around that period. And these are not the nicest lyrics I've ever written. They're pretty
much to the point.
Tortured artist bears his soul. Now he keeps the publishing, and I was very resentful that Kevin walked out on the band and essentially walked out on the fans, but yet he was held in such high regards by the fans, but yet we were the ones that were sticking it out and not breaking up and not quitting. And, you know, a lot of people doubted our future, which is some of the next verse, doubting my future, you don't even know me. Reading the digest you show me, that has to do with the It's a Jam digest that was popular at that time, before there were message boards. And I would read on all these It's a Jam digests how fans were doubting our future, and they were, you know, Kev was this genius and blah, 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 but Kev was the one that walked out on them, and we were the ones that sticking out and trying to, you know, continue Dream Theater for the fans, and yet we're kind of getting doubted. So that's what a lot of these lyrics are about, that frustration. This whole period was so frustrating for me, and that's all been documented elsewhere, but most of the lyrics that I wrote for Falling Into Infinity, this one, and New Millennium, and Burning My Soul, and Just Let Me Breathe, they were all just so frustrated.
They're not your happiest lyrics.
No. And these lyrics, if you really look at them, they're very, very mean towards Kevin. I'm surprised I haven't been called on it a lot more. People either didn't know it or don't notice, or because it's more of an obscure song, I guess people don't even really
I guess
know it
the
that
only way
well.
they'd have it is if they're a fan club member.
Right, but then once it came out on Score, laughing sarcastically, you turned your back on the people who adored you. I'm really rubbing salt into the wounds by even talking about this right now. There's some cool drumming going on here. That was pretty. Oh wait, am I playing drums? I forgot to even.
You guys have kind of made up since, though, right? I mean, we did
we-
side together, and
See, I'll take the blame for these things that I say, because I had the heart and the will and the courage to stay. That's me saying you know what? I don't care if I get heat for writing these words. I'm still here, and I'm still here for the fans. But anyway, yeah, you know, we did the OSI albums together, and those were. I was kind of hoping for a better experience with those as well. I still had fond memories of Kev, and I do have a lot of respect for him as an artist. I love, what he does. But honestly, the OSI albums weren't that much fun for me. Kev is just a very, very difficult person to work with. He's very stubborn, very closed-minded. And after doing the OSI albums, I came to the conclusion that if he hadn't left Dream Theater would have imploded many, many, many years ago. So actually, the best thing he could have ever done for Dream Theater, himself and the fans, was to leave the band and let us do our thing, because there's no way we would have existed.
So he was like that in the band too?
He got worse and worse, but when he left the band, he was really at his most close-minded and detached, and when
yeah, you can kind of see that in the footage in 5 Years in a Lifetime.
well, the fact that he's just totally detached. He doesn't want anything to do with Dream Theater. I invited him to come out and join us at this Score show. He wouldn't do it. I invited him out at several other shows, and
the LA show.
Invited him out to be part of the Score documentary. He's the only band member that didn't contribute to that. He's the only band member that didn't contribute to the book. And after a while, you can only be, shut out and said no to, and be disregarded so many times before you start to take it personally. And Mackie, I gotta move you over. My legs are falling asleep. Oh. Anyway, enough about Kev. You know what? The final Kev statement. I remember when I asked him to do to join us for the When Dreaming Day Reunite performance in LA, and he didn't do that, and then he didn't do this show, and I realized, you know what? Thank God he didn't, because those shows would have been about him, and that show and this show wasn't about him. It was about us, and it was about us that have been doing this for 15 years, for the When Dreaming Day Night show, or the 20 years for this, and this night was about celebrating us doing it for 20 years, not celebrating the people that walked out and left us behind.
That's a good point.
So to that I say, Kevin, no more. That melody right there was used at the end of You Not Me. I remember when we were writing You Not Me, we had that really cool melody from Raise the Knife, and it was like, oh, why don't we put this in here too? Thinking it would all end up on the same album, and it would, be a cool little nod. But little did we know that this would never see the light of day. And Magic Cowbell with a 5 count. 5-beat break right in there. Hey, we forgot the Altoid box.
Yeah, we did.
I'm already getting a dry mouth from talking.
I got some upstairs. When we take our pee break, I'll grab them.
Oh, there's no pee breaks in rock. There's no pee breaks at a Dream Theater show, at least for me. Actually, we're almost at the end of the first set. I think there's only one more song. Eric is holding the mic right there. Eric, once again, to give props to Eric. Not only does he set this amazing kit up, keeps it in good condition, keeps it all the parts and pieces updated, but he's got to sit there and know every single mic cue and spray my hands because my hands get dry, fill up my waters, and he's just on top of it. It's a very, very demanding gig, and he is awesome with it.
I think you're on your 3rd bottle of water now.
See, I'm normally a Fiji drinker, but we use the duct tape whole duct tape piece to hold the waters in place so they don't spill. And
Fiji probably won't fit in there. Huh?
no, we need to find a roll of duct tape with a square hole.
Sure, you can get like a saw and just saw something out there.
Yeah, but there's always a water and a cup of Gatorade there, and there's one on. There's always the same. If you watch the In Constant Motion DVD, I think he really gets into detail, or maybe I don't know. I've seen an interview somewhere where he gets into detail of the whole process, the daily ritual.
Any special Gatorade?
Usually the blue stuff. Usually one of the blue varieties. Now what's next? Spirit Carries On?
I believe so.
Now having picking a Scenes from a Memory song. Every one of those songs had been documented on DVD and CD because of the whole album being out on DVD and CD. So really, I had an open palette to choose from, and it had to be Spirit Carries On because, first of all, the version on Metropolis 2000 was with Teresa and a choir, so this was a way to get a version that was just us, which made it a little different. I hate having any songs repeated, but in this case, there was inevitably going to be a repeated scene song, so this one made sense. But this was also so emotional. This was one of the ends of this song, seeing everybody's hands in the air, and at this moment, seeing all the lighters in the air. It was one of those moments, probably the most emotional moments of the night. In fact, I think at the very end of this, you could see me really swelling up, and it was just incredible. My hands are still dry. I'm still getting them sprayed. Thanks, Eric.
Don't you feel like you're gonna drop the sticks or something when your hands are wet?
It's the opposite. For some reason, the last few years, my hands have become very, very dry on stage, and when they're dry, then it's very hard for me to grip the sticks. I guess Promark has a thing on their sticks, a finish that when it's wet or moist, you can actually grip it better.
Gets a little tacky.
So by Eric spraying my hands, it just helps me grip it a little bit better. It's not like it makes it slippery. It actually makes it
kind of tacky or something.
I guess I've never heard that word before. But if you say so.
Tacky, sticky, kind of like glue.
Yeah. A lot of house lights on at this point. Just seeing the whole audience, and I'm just looking out there and seeing, oh wow, there's my Uncle Jay, and there's my sister Sam, and there's my dad. Well, there's obviously, I think that was Marlene. I just blew a kiss to her. I hope so. Well, it could
For
have
your
been,
sake,
yeah.
I hope so. Or one of the kids.
It could have been another family member, my dad or my sister or something, but I'm almost positive that was Marlene. Well, if you were sitting with my sister and I was blowing a kiss to her, I hope you don't think I was blowing it to you.
No. We're close, man, but I know we're not that close.
I like seeing that handheld shot from behind me just to see the audience again.
Uh-huh.
That was a very big kit, 26-inch kick drum. Even looking at it right now, I remember what it feels like to play that kit. Big toms, big hi-hats, if I remember correctly. Those are 15-inch hi-hats. It was modeled after John Bonham's kit. When I did my Led Zeppelin tribute, Tama built me a Bonham kit, and I wanted to incorporate it into this kit. So it's very big-sized drums for a change. Usually I like small drums, actually. And since then, on the Systematic Chaos tour, my Mirage Monster, the right side of the kit has become a little smaller, made up of smaller drums. But this particular tour, I had the Bonham thing going. Okay, this is the moment. This was the moment. The house lights go on. You see everybody's hands in the air. I remember just having absolute chills. Just looking out there, and there's the cameraman who's been shooting the footage you've been seeing. And that's why, there you go, that's what he's filming right now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he goes back and forth between
Me and Jordan.
Jordan a lot, yeah.
What a place, Radio City. I remember seeing The Who there in 1989, doing Tommy in its entirety, and to be actually playing on that same stage. Or I saw Rush there in '82. I saw David Gilmour play there a couple nights after this show. Our show was way better.
Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing the Gilmour show a couple nights later, and the audience was so quiet and mellow compared to the electricity that was in the air this night. There was such an electricity in the air at this show. This moment right here, I think it was just one of those moments right there. When James hits that last chord and the guitar melody comes in, I think my hairs in the back of my neck were standing up. Look at that. I mean, I was like feeling the love at that moment. Oh, I was showing Jordan. Goosebumps. Yeah. There's a couple of moments from this show that always come to mind, and that's one of them.
Yeah, when I saw that, I thought you were checking time.
No, it
Because I
was
know you guys had like a pretty strict curfew for this show.
right. No, that was Goosebumps. I was showing Jordan my Goosebumps. So this is the last song of the first set. Anybody that wasn't at that show may not realize it, because on the DVD and the CD it just goes directly into the second set. But at this point we walked off stage and there was a 15-minute intermission.
So there are pee breaks on rock and roll.
Yeah. And there wasn't even a word said. We just walked off stage and the house lights went down. Now, at this point, a big curtain came down, and well, here on this DVD it's cutting directly to About to Crash from 6 Degrees, but live at the concert, the curtain came down and there was a 15-minute intermission as the orchestra got set up, and when the curtain rose for the start of the second set, there was the orchestra playing the whole 6 Degrees Overture.
Which was very badass.
And like we said earlier, I mean, some people were guessing that and anticipating that, but nobody knew it. And it was indeed a surprise. So, now when people look back at the show, they just think of the show with the orchestra. But at that time, people didn't know that that's what was going to be happening that evening. And of course, I'm wearing a tuxedo to fit in with the orchestra.
Yeah, you barely made it back up to the riser in time. You're kind of running back there a little bit to get up here.
You could also see the gong is now not there because it was obstructing the view for the orchestra. But there was during the intermission, there was all these technical problems. The lights on the stands for the orchestra people weren't lighting up, and there were lighting problems, and some of the camera operators weren't getting in place. One of them went to take a piss and didn't get back to his station in time. And the reason that this show ended up going a few minutes over time at the end was because of this intermission going a few minutes over time. I mean, I had to write this set list down to the minute, because at Radio City, and actually most New York venues, you get charged an unbelievably ridiculous penalty if you go over. And I knew Radio City in particular is very, very strict. So it was very important that this show run like clockwork. And even at the start of the show, my good friend Eddie Trunk introduced us, but he had to do it from behind the curtain, because if he had walked onto the stage to introduce us before the show, that's when the clock for the show begins. So he actually had to stay behind the curtain on the side in order to introduce us without the clock starting. So they're very, very, very strict. And you'll see at the end of the show, well, I'll point it out when we get there, but we ended up going 3 minutes over this night, and the show ended at 11:03. We got charged $10,000 a minute for those 3 minutes. We got charged $30,000 to go over 3 minutes at Radio City. So that's why That's why you don't see many live DVDs from Radio City Music Hall
Right.
or Madison Square Garden, which also has a very similar strict policy.
So there's an 11 o'clock curfew, or is it just a time limit?
It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I think it might be 11 o'clock. Or maybe it is a time thing. So, here we are playing with an orchestra, which was always a lifelong dream. And we touched upon it when we did the Octavarium album. We had a small orchestra play on Sacrifice Sons and Octavarium, and string quartet on The Answer Lies Within. So we kind of got, we tapped into that dream when we did the album, and then at some point during this tour I had this idea of this grand finale at Radio City with an orchestra, and so told the band guys about the idea and brought it up to our manager, and we made it happen. But here we are playing with them, and it was just an incredible feeling to
This
look.
is the perfect song for it, just because so much of the stuff Jordan did sounded like an orchestra.
Well, the entire overture, which isn't on this DVD because I'm not playing, but that was basically written to be like an orchestral overture, like at a Broadway show or for a movie or something. So to actually have an actual orchestra play it was incredibly cool. Yeah, and I wanted to keep the chronological thing, even though we were only having the orchestra on the second set. So really, it kind of worked out okay, because I think all along I knew I wanted an orchestra with 6 Degrees, with Sacrifice Sons, Octavarium, and these were all songs that fit into the second half of the show chronologically. So it kind of worked out good. The only other exception was Metropolis, which ended up, being used as the encore. But otherwise, I was able to keep the chronological format of the set list and have, all of these orchestral songs only in the second set. The other thing that's not on here is Vacant, because I don't play on it, so it'd be a pretty boring 3 minutes of drum cam footage.
Right.
But that was also like, it was a good balance.
Oh, there you go.
That was also, at this point in the show, we're going 6 Degrees, Train of Thought, and Octavarium. So Vacant was obviously the perfect choice, although I would have loved to have done Stream of Consciousness with an orchestra.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
It really would have been totally cool, but the main reason I didn't want to do it is because we had just released that on Live at Budokan.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, if I would have been able to look forward and see this when writing the Budokan set list, I wouldn't have put what we just kicked into, War Inside My Head.
Yeah.
War and The Test. I wouldn't have done at Budokan if I would have anticipated we'd be doing this, on the next DVD. And the same goes for Stream of Consciousness. If I would have possibly have known that this was in our future, I would have held off and done that as well. But of course, can't always predict these things, as much as I try. Good shout in the audience there. Now, why don't you give me a break from talking for a minute and tell me what was the vibe like in the audience when...
I think everybody was, I don't think there was a single person sitting down, which was kind of unusual. I mean, most of the time you go to a concert, there's always the wife or the whoever coming along that's sitting down, but then the vibe for this was just everybody was just so into it that everybody was up.
What about
cheering.
the whole reception to the orchestra?
People were genuinely surprised, I think.
Well, you were with a lot
I was
of my
with
family
your-
members
I was
who
with
knew
your
it.
family, so
I think you
they-
knew it, right? I think I must have. You must have known.
I knew, so it wasn't. But there were some formers that I haven't even actually seen on the forum in a while, like Cloak and Bogey, who actually was the guy that wrote the choreography to begin with. They were sitting in front of us, and yeah, when the curtain came down, the look on their face was pretty priceless.
I just asked Eric for a change in my monitors. What it was, I don't know, but it was. My mic is very low there, by the way.
You're good at pushing it with your face, though.
I bet you I'm going to, because I'm looking at it right now. It's almost like Lemmy-like. What was I going to say? Oh, the monitors. Monitoring with the orchestra was very, very difficult. Something's going on here, and obviously Eric is still making changes. Very rarely do I have to make monitor changes. Usually I keep a very consistent mix that I don't fuck with. So very rarely will Eric have to make changes. But
What do you keep in your mix?
a lot of drums, obviously, and a lot of guitar. Mainly drums and guitar. My vocals, obviously, I need to be able to hear what I'm singing. Not much of James, just enough in the background where, you know, when I'm singing with him that I can kind of hear where he's at, but for the most part, not much vocal in my mix. Not much bass either, and good amount of keyboards. And then the cowbell that we all cue off of and everything, and then some video cues. But this particular night was, 30 other people in my ears, you know, so it was a whole other, look at people running around in the back. Obviously, there's some sort of technical, something's going on. People are running, something's going wrong back there. I mean, well, that was
like
breaking loose.
Guitar down or something.
Yeah, I think that was a guitar down move. But it was very hard to find a place for the orchestra in my mix, and I think for the most part I ended up pulling them almost out, because at the end of the day they were really following me. In fact, everybody up there was pretty much following me. Of the band guys, mainly always following me for tempo changes and cues and count-ins and count-outs. But also the orchestra was really basing everything off of the band. So in a way, I didn't even need to hear them too much, because I just had to assume that they were going to be with me. And Jamshid, who's the conductor and arranger, amazing.
He watched you quite a bit.
He's awesome. He was the perfect man for the gig. He's another Berkeley alumni. I don't know if he graduated there, but I think he went around the same time as us. And he really gets this type of music, and he was able to really catch the tempo changes and the time signatures, and
he was kind of rocking out too.
Yeah, he loved it. He really, really enjoyed himself, and I think the rest of the orchestra too. A lot of them expressed how much fun they had, and they're not used to big rock gigs. They're used to very, very conservative classical gigs. And we, I guess I should probably talk about this for those that don't know. We only had 1 day's rehearsal with them. The day before the show, we had a 1-day rehearsal, and just ran through the stuff many, many times. But the scores were done the months leading up to the show. Jamshid was scoring the stuff for the orchestra, and he would send demos to me and John Petrucci and Jordan. I think Jordan checked them out as well and got involved with that. And the three of us would make our comments and let Jamshid know any changes we wanted. But it was a good one. Oh, good throw, so bad close. Catch. And I got a spray. There's a quick spray. Boom. Look at that. A throw, a catch, a spray, and a spin. and fix my glasses, too. All with, and then a twirl.
It's a good night for the Portnoy.
But anyway, so yeah, we were getting demos and stuff in the months and weeks leading up to the show. And then by the time we got into rehearsals, it was a matter of just playing through everything. And the most rehearsal was needed for... oh, man. Not good on this song.
You got it.
Good recovery, though.
But you got it. Now, if I remember right, I think he gave the score to Eric after the show. I remember he gave it to somebody, because he was carrying it around, and Eric was saying something like he'd like to have it. I'm pretty sure he handed it to Eric.
Maybe he did. I have all of the orchestra scores, all the ones that are on their, physically on their music stands. I have in my office. And for those of you that never realized the multiple levels to the title of this score, I must pat myself on the back. I think I came up with the ultimate title for this, because score, obviously, it has to do with classical music and an orchestra and music. Also has to do with the more hidden meaning is score also means 20 years. So that was just a perfect.
Yeah, that one took me a little while to catch on to.
And also score is also, you do something well when you actually achieve something, So it was a perfect title. Now this is one of 2 sections with the orchestra that was just orchestra and vocal. One was vacant, and then the other is the intro here to Goodnight Kiss. So when we had rehearsals the day before, basically it was only the four of us rehearsing with the orchestra, but James did come in for about an hour. He was obviously saving his voice. He didn't want to really blow it the night before. But he came in for about an hour in rehearsals and just did Goodnight Kiss and Vacant with the orchestra. Did you keep the drum cam on through all this?
Yeah, I did. Because
So
you're back there.
I'm just sitting with
You're
Eric.
sitting back there keeping time for him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good point. I forgot about this. Eric takes off the magic cowbell. Good point. I forgot all about this. He took it off the kit and actually is holding it there. And I'm actually keeping time for Jamshed right there. So I'm giving the tempo to Jamshed, and that's also in James's ears, so James can have a proper tempo to sing along with the orchestra. I forgot all about that. That's really cool that you have that there. I would have totally forgotten about that.
I'm good for some things.
Look at that. So even when I'm not playing, I'm still working. That's a true control freak right there. Sitting in the corner by himself, just keeping time for 31 people. 32. And still getting my hands sprayed.
I think you're drinking some water, too.
Good multitasker. I can't remember if the samples were on this live version, but that's Melody and Max on the studio version of this. Look at that, yeah. Still keeping time, and then he's going to put it back onto the mount it back onto the kit. See, even I'm learning something here on this audio commentary.
You know, and I just noticed you switched to black armbands.
Yeah.
That's how perceptive I am.
You know, I'm very fashion conscious.
Yeah, just like Melody, right?
Mike learning today that Melody at 11 years old is really starting to grow up.
Man, I can't believe it. It's only been a couple of years since I've seen her, and she's becoming quite the teenager.
I think I got that tuxedo shirt only, I think maybe the day before the show. I only thought of it. Now, for you really super hardcore perceptive people, I wore a shirt like that at my very first concert ever. And I only think anybody out there would possibly know there's an Easter egg on my In Constant Motion instructional DVD under the drum solo section. There's an Easter egg on there of me doing a drum solo at my very first concert ever with my band Intruder. And I was wearing a tuxedo shirt at that show. So here I am 25 years later on stage at Radio City Music Hall wearing the same attire.
You do not know how many emails I've gotten asking where they could buy that shirt at.
I just looked it up online. I remember thinking, oh, that would be really cool to wear, with the orchestra in tuxedos. I think I thought of it a couple days before. I looked it up online, like tshirts.com or whatever, and just had it FedExed to whatever hotel I was at. It would have been more metal though if I cut the sleeves. Should have cut the sleeves. Yeah. I love this guitar solo. This was also on, was this on Budokan? Goodnight Kiss and Solitary Shell? So I
think all of 6 Degrees was on Budokan.
No, it was split into pieces. Only, I think War and Test were in the first set, and maybe Goodnight Kiss and Solitary Shell in the second set. Like I said earlier, one of my biggest regrets with that Budokan set list was having the 6 Degrees stuff, because we ended up playing it here. I would have, once again, in retrospect, if I could go back in time, I would remove the 6 Degree songs from Budokan and would have done maybe The Great Debate instead, or Misunderstood. But, like I said earlier, you can only control history so much.
Right.
This is one of those moments where the orchestra was really perfect, perfectly orchestrated with the song. This whole song is very orchestral. I knew immediately that this song had to be performed. You hear the French horns in there and everything. That's a good audience shot. Actually, I think that exact shot ended up making the full band DVD. I recognize that shot. Bless you. You can see there's a plastic sound barricades between me and the orchestra, but I don't know why they're not higher.
That's what I was just kind of thinking. They're probably not doing much.
Yeah, I remember them rehearsing with us the day before. They were set up right behind the drums. And I remember bouncing sticks, because I was really in a heavy stick bouncing phase during this tour. I was really into it. And I remember a couple sticks going flying out of control and hitting one of the cello players.
Oh, man.
And he almost got up and walked out. He was so pissed. I mean, they're so, some of them are so uptight, you know.
Yeah, so serious. Yeah.
And never mind the spitting. I think I kept the spitting to a minimum.
I haven't seen that
night.
much.
No,
4 or 5 maybe.
you have to be
Pretty minimal.
respectful for Radio City. I'd love to play there again. I would, but I mean, I have mixed feelings about it. In one way, I'd love to go back there just to enjoy the experience again. But on the other hand, it's kind of cool keeping this
Right.
as a unique experience and special. The same thing happened with Budokan. We ended up going back and playing the Budokan a second time on the Systematic Chaos tour. And it was actually cool because, you know, when you're filming a DVD, it's all a blur. It's like your wedding. You know, you don't remember it until you go back and watch the DVD. So there were so many things about this night or, you know, the Budokan in 2004 that are just a blur to me. So it was nice to go back to Budokan in 2007 or 8 or whatever it was and actually just enjoy the show. So it might be nice one day to go back to Radio City and just play a normal, quote-unquote normal show, just to, you know, not have all the pressure.
Yeah.
I think in terms of achievements, I mean, this is playing this place and playing with an orchestra is surely one of them. And having played places like Budokan in Tokyo or, you know, Wembley Arena in London, these are some of the benchmarks that we've always dreamed about. I would say one of the remaining ones would be Madison Square Garden in New York. You know, us being New Yorkers, that's probably the dream gig. And we played the theater at Madison Square Garden, which is about a 5,000 or 6,000 capacity.
That was actually a really cool place.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I think they changed the name. I think it's called the Wamu Theater now. But when we were there, it was perfect because it was Dream Theater at the theater.
That'd probably be called the Chase Theater because Wamu got bought out.
Oh, really? So there you
Bankrupt.
go. So it probably is. But anyway, yeah, that was a great place to play. I played there twice. I played there with Dream Theater, and I also did G3 there once. It was a nice theater, but really to play the arena upstairs, the main room, that's probably one remaining dream of ours that will hopefully someday be realized.
I don't see why not.
That's a very Rick Wakeman keyboard part. I remember when we toured with Yes, I specifically put this song in that set list, hoping that one keyboard part would lure in the Yes fans.
Right.
I don't know if it worked.
And speaking of Yes and venues, Red Rock, that place is... That's a beautiful
Yeah,
venue.
that's another favorite venue to have played. Were you at that show when we played at Red Rocks? You were?
I was there. Yep.
Wow. I had forgotten that. Yeah, that's an absolutely beautiful place. Did it rain that night?
No, it was beautiful. A little chilly, but it was a great night.
I think another one would be the Hollywood Bowl. That would be a good one, too. I'd say Madison Square Garden, the Hollywood Bowl. There's not many more left. There's not many more venues that have dreamed of playing. Those cymbals were custom made for me when I did my John Bonham tribute. Those were like vault cymbals that that was a good one. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's me counting the band on the electronic cowbell.
So which cymbals were custom made? The whole right side?
Yeah, all the kits on this bottom side, the ride and the hi-hats and the crashes, they were all made to sound like very 70s. You know, I don't know what kind of
Right.
finish or metal that they used to make those cymbals for John Bonham, but they were kind of modeled after those old Paiste cymbals.
Did they sell these, or were they just
No, they
just made it for you? And that
they
was
just
it?
custom made it for me. I don't know if they've used the formula since. I don't know, but at the time that I was using them on this kit, they were custom made.
They must like you.
Yeah, well, the feelings are mutual. I like them too. That was I have a splash mounted there. You can see I'm hitting the splash. It was almost sacrilegious to mount that splash there because John Bonham didn't use a splash. But there was a couple songs like this one and also I Walk Beside You that it was kind of needed.
You have to have
Even the double pedal, I talk about this on the In Constant Motion DVD, but it was very sacrilegious to have a double pedal on a quote-unquote John Bonham kit. And when I did the Octavarium album, I used my John Bonham kit for almost half the songs on that album with a single pedal, not a double pedal. And I would have very happily continued to play with only a single pedal on this kit, except for that I was playing a lot of the older songs on this kit as well. So for some of the older songs, like this one right here, I go into a double bass part.
Right.
So any of the older songs I was playing this side of the kit on, I needed the double pedal to play some of the parts.
And your right foot's not that fast.
Not that fast. By the way, all these stick drops, you notice you don't see them on the Dream Theater version of the Score DVD. I somehow strategically removed those moments from the final cut.
It's funny how that happens when you're the director.
But I guess when you're watching the drum cam, there's no getting away from
Yeah,
it.
there's no getting around it.
But I always say, if I catch, 7 out of 10 sticks, that's a 700% average. I mean, a baseball player, if you had a baseball player that hit 7 out of 10 balls,
That's awesome.
I mean, baseball players, a great baseball player will have a 300 batting average, which means only 3 out of 10. I think I catch way more than 3, so I don't ever want to get shit about if I only caught maybe 2 out of 10, then you can give me shit. But anything above 3 out of 10, I'm still better.
it to yourself.
I'm still better than Mickey Mantle. As you can see, I went back and forth from one side of the kit to the other. God bless you.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. That's what happens when you spend too much time in an airport.
Are you sure it's not my animals?
No. I have 4 dogs, 6
You're-
dogs right now, I think.
6 dogs.
My wife does animal rescue.
Holy
so
shit.
We have 3 of our own. I think we have 3 fosters right now.
Wow. See, I'm learning stuff about Mike here on this commentary. I didn't know that. I don't know where Bongo is. Bongo's upstairs sleeping with Marlene.
Last time I saw her, she was at the stairs. She acted like she was afraid to come down.
But Maggie's still here in my lap.
She's a good lap dog.
This is another good orchestra moment. Yeah, if you look in the... Did we even talk about the rearview mirrors? I know we mentioned them briefly earlier, but the main reason they were put on this kit was so I can keep an eye on the orchestra and specifically Jamshed, during a lot of these moments. Even though they're mainly watching me, I really wanted to still have an eye on Jamshed. And then since this tour, I've kept them on my kit because they're kind of cool to keep an eye on the video screens. Either for cues or to just make comments. A lot of times during the show I'm just keeping an eye on the content and the execution and the cues, and if there's things that need to be worked on with our video guys, I'll talk to them about it after the show.
I guess this is pre-punching bag too, huh?
That's right. Yeah, we added the punching bag on the Systematic Chaos tour. The story with the punching bag, really briefly, is that if I would ever get pissed about something on stage, my kit, and specifically my mic stand, usually took a beating. I would usually just toss the mic stand in a fit of rage. And Christmas of 2006, I think, around Christmas time, I get something in the mail and it says, "To the drummer from the mic stand." The microphone stand actually sent me a Christmas present, and it was this punching bag. And Eric actually sent it to me, and Eric mounted it on the kit for the whole Chaos tour, so I would take it out on the punching bag instead of the mic stand. That's a good shot. I don't know why we didn't use that, at least for a moment on the final cut. There's some good drum fills right here. I think most of this stays with me on the final Dream Theater score. Great bounce right here. Oh, actually it wasn't the best one. I'm thinking of one later that went... I mean, it was good, but it wasn't that high. The drum bounce, the snare bounce...
It's a fine art.
It is. There's two guys that perfected it. Can you name them? The one guy that I mainly got it from, the first guy I had ever seen it do it, who was one of my biggest heroes, Keith Moon. And this is only a few months before I did my Who tribute, I think, if I have my dates correct. And obviously I was doing a lot of stick bouncing for my Who tribute, because Keith was the first guy I'd ever seen that did that. And then the other guy was Tommy Lee back in the 80s. He was really good with that too.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a fine art though. It's harder than just tossing and throwing a stick. The actual bounce, you're in serious danger of losing a testicle at any given moment. So there's a fine art to actually doing it without losing one of your nuts.
It comes backwards at you.
Actually, Eric is very good. Eric kind of gave me some good pointers in stick bouncing. He's good at it, so he showed me a few pointers in a good stick bounce. A lot of singing at this show. I guess there's a lot of singing at all the shows, but I guess when you watch a drum cam, you realize how much there is.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear a real embarrassing falsetto, go to
switch the track too.
Switch to the second audio track right now. There's very few times that I do a falsetto. Usually I try to sing full vocal whenever I can, but obviously I can't sing that high. So there's moments like here and the end of Octavarium that are falsetto. Oh, Eric is going to get the gong.
Yeah, he's telling the camera guy to stay away.
Exactly. So as I mentioned earlier, we had to move the gong away for the second set because of the orchestra, but I was faced with this, the most glorious moment at the end of this 40-minute song is the gong hit. So we had to figure out how the hell are we going to get the gong hit to keep it off the stage. So the plan was that at the end of the song, Eric was going to wheel the gong out just to get hit, and then this is another one of these moments right here. This point in this song is a glorious moment. This is another moment that I think of my dad, smiling ear to ear. I remember seeing him during Spirit Carries On, seeing him around this point, and also the end of Octavarium, which I know is a song he really loved.
I don't think I've ever seen your dad not happy. I think the first time I met him.
Nah, he's always
the nicest guy.
Yeah, he is a very, very happy guy. But this night in particular, I don't think I'd ever seen him as happy as I'd seen him this night. And he tells me a lot of the time in the audience he was thinking about my mom, who passed away when I was 17. And he's often said that at this particular show he remembers just thinking about her a lot.
How proud she'd be.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Eric's getting the gong ready. If you look behind Jordan's keyboard rig, you could see the gong getting ready to be wheeled in for its big moment. Oh, I just realized something. I was torn on whether or not to do this as one ID on the score CD, and I figured being that we broke it up on the CD into the individual tracks, it would be cool to have a 42-minute song somewhere in our catalog. So here comes the gong for its big moment. You gotta have the gong. Here comes the big moment. Nice. That was a very satisfying smash right there. All right. How do you follow a song like that up? Well, next on the set list is...
I believe it was Vacant.
Yeah, next is still going chronological after 6 Degrees. Next came Train of Thought.
Which get cut.
And there's no Vacant on this drum cam DVD because there's no drums. But this was a nice breather anyway after the 40-minute intensity of 6 Degrees. So
If I remember right, you walk out and sit on the back of the riser for a little bit.
well, you can see the backdrop is changing. We just lowered the Octavarium backdrop. And actually, one of the constant decisions I had to make on this tour with Bert Baldwin, who was doing lights and video, was when the center screen would stay up and come back down. On this tour, we had 3 screens, a left, right, and center. And when we had the Octavarium backdrop, I think when the show started, obviously the Octavarium songs at the start of the show didn't have a backdrop, so we had the middle screen. But for these Octavarium songs, there would be no middle screen, so that way the backdrop wouldn't be obstructed. So that was like every set list kind of I had to always discuss that with Bert, when the middle screen was going to go up and when it was going to come down, when we would have a backdrop, when we wouldn't. Anyway, so this song was originally recorded with a string quartet. So when choosing the set lists, basically 6 Degrees was obvious. Vacant was obvious, first of all, because we had cello on the original version of Vacant, but also it was the only song from Train of Thought that wasn't on Budokan, so that kind of worked out nicely. But then there were 3 songs on Octavarium that were recorded with strings. This was with a quartet, and then Sacrifice Sons and Octavarium with an orchestra. So that was obvious. So the set list pretty much wrote itself in terms of the orchestra. And this is obviously a full orchestra on this track instead of just a quartet. And a lot of the people that were in the orchestra for the Octavarium album did this show as well.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
As well as Jamshed, obviously. Jamshed was the conductor and arranger for the Octavarium recording session. This is a good song. I think this is an underrated song, just because it's such a different straight-ahead style.
Kind of mellow.
But I think it's a very well-written song, harmonically, and the chords and everything.
Very pretty.
In a perfect world, it would have been a top 10 hit.
Oh, easily.
But didn't seem to be in the cards for us, which is maybe better off. Anyway.
Yeah, it's hard telling the way the radio is nowadays.
Let's see. The orchestra lights that weren't working. This was not played that often on this tour. Probably one of the least played songs off the Octavarium album. those orchestra lights just keep randomly going on and off. I think there might have been a problem that never went away with that.
Oh, that wasn't part of the show?
Well, no, they were supposed to be lit, but they were supposed to be lit
Constantly?
No, they were supposed to be lit, for certain sections and certain areas,
Okay.
and I think they had a big problem with that, as well as the audience lights. There was an issue with that as well. We had some lights that were placed in the audience as well. But I would say, for the most part, things went very well that night.
In the audience, you would have never known.
I mean, the two biggest ones we already talked about, the guitar going out in
Yeah.
Glass Moon and then the video at the start of the show. And really, by this point in the night, those were just completely forgotten about. A lot of time on this side of the kit.
So there is.
If you've seen the, I guess there were 3 DVDs from this tour. There's this. Then there's, oh no, my bad. I was gonna say The Dark Side of the Moon, which I played, basically, I think on almost the whole thing on this side of the kit when we did Dark Side of the Moon. And the other thing I was going to say was when Dream of Day Reunite, but I was wrong. That was Train of Thought tour.
Yeah.
So this kit was pretty much documented on 2 DVDs, Score and Dark Side of the Moon. Oh, and In Constant Motion, my instructional DVDs got footage from Connecticut, which I think was the show right before this. I think, I think Boston was before this, but it was basically,
before, I think.
yeah, it was a night or two before this. So if you see that footage from In Constant Motion, it was filmed only a few nights before this. You'd think that showing the 9/11 footage on the screen in New York would have been this big emotional to do, but I don't think it really was. Was it? I don't know.
Didn't seem like it.
No, it was just the next song. I mean, I wasn't even thinking of 9/11 in New York City, That you give a little cowbell click, a little cowbell roll. That means I'm getting ready to count you in. This is another underrated song. I guess anything that we haven't played on the Systematic Chaos tours, I haven't heard it in a while. Like, I haven't heard this in a while. I haven't heard The Ancillaries Within in a while.
Yeah, I love this song.
Yeah, this is a good one. Have to bring this back maybe in the next tour. This was the first song we wrote for Octavarium. I think I've said this elsewhere, but always the first song when we start writing for an album turns out to be a very, very big, long, epic song. First song for Chaos was In the Presence of Enemies. First song for Octavarium was this. First song written for Pulling Into Infinity was Raise a Knife. First song written for Awake was Scarred. And I'll give you a little hint for the new album that we're currently in the studio making. The first song we wrote was it's 15 minutes. First song we wrote for the new upcoming album. So we have a tendency to always come out of the gates with a big epic. I guess just because we have bottled up creative energy.
You gotta get the juices out.
Jordan's using the Continuum. Oh, I just realized,
Love that
is
thing.
the beginning of Octavarium on here, or was that cut as well?
Nah, I left it.
You left it?
Yeah.
Really? Am I doing anything interesting? That goes on for like 5 minutes, right? Well, I guess we're about to find out.
We're gonna find out.
I forgot all
I
about
want to
that.
say you're sitting on the back of the stage talking to Eric. I didn't want to just jump into the middle of the song.
We should have taken questions from the forum to fill in these blank moments.
They don't even know this is coming.
Huh?
They don't even know this is coming.
Right. That's true. Actually, 2.5 years later with this, I wasn't ever sure if I wanted to do a score drum cam DVD. And
Yeah,
you might be wondering why now. But, I mean, at first, right after we did score, I don't know. I was just doing too many other projects. And
yeah. I asked.
yeah, you did bring it up, actually. I remember. And I did collect this footage when I was doing the Dream Theater score DVD. I collected all the drum cam stuff, and when we were mixing the album with Michael Brower, I did an isolated drum mix. So I knew the day would come that we'd eventually get around to it. But
Oh, so you've had that drum mix for a while?
yeah, when we mixed the score CD with Michael Brower, I did those mixes.
I thought maybe you'd done that recently.
So better late than never.
I have to say this is much easier to put together than the normal drum cam.
Well, the studio drum cam stuff, you have to go through multiple
Those
takes and
Yeah.
line the stuff up and sync it up. Whereas this is just a couple of cameras and
Yeah.
it's already lined up and shot. And I'm not saying it's an easy gig, I'm glad you did it, but it's definitely
It's
a whole
definitely
other
easier, yeah.
a whole other kind of animal.
And I cheated too. I took the audio off the DVD instead of the CD, so everything would be already perfectly lined up. With the CD version, a little different.
But even that's right, because the DVD version did have all the talking and everything, but the
Yep.
CD didn't. Yeah, all the talking in between. I think the only talking I left on the CD was an abbreviated version. Oh no, I think an abbreviated hello at the start at the before Under a Glass Moon, I think, is the first talking spot, and I cut that a bit. And then the intro to Wraith the Knife I left on there just so people would know what the hell it was, so it wasn't just some song that nobody knew. And I think the orchestra gets a break in some of these points.
I love this part of the song.
Yeah, it's a very Rush-like riff. It's like something off of Permanent Waves of Natural Silence or something like that.
Yeah.
Except it's got more time. It's not just a straight 7. It's got all different alternating time signatures. Here's the orchestra entrance for the guitar melody. And this next section reminds me a lot of like Ozzy, Diary of a Madman, very gothic. Ooh, that was a good choke and spin. Choke and spin by Fisher Price. It's a perverted child's toy.
Right.
This is the gothic part. Sorry to keep being so quiet, but after a while, I just want to watch it. I haven't seen this in so long. Now here's some cool drum fills. Oh no. Oh yeah.
Well, right here, yeah.
We haven't played some of these songs since this night. I mean, this was the last night. Might be safe to say I don't think we've played any of these songs since this night, except for Spirit Carries On. I think my yeah, I could be wrong here, but thinking off the top of my head, I don't think we've played any of these songs since this night. Oh, I Walk Beside You as well, but very few. which means it's probably time for a few of them to come back to the next tour.
I vote for Raise the Knife.
Yeah, I doubt that. I think that's it. You know, playing it on this tour and then recording it on here, I think that was... We played it almost every night on this tour, Raise the Knife, and another one, both of those, because I knew they were so unique. God bless you.
Number 3.
Anybody got the sneeze count out there? Now, if I remember correctly, my best stick bounce of the night was the last chord of this song.
Looks like you're definitely having fun.
Well, at this
Pointing
point,
at somebody.
you know, any jitters are well gone. It's just a matter of enjoying the show. And there was so many jitters, you know. Wait. Here's the best stick bounce. Oh, no, wait. We still have drum solos coming up. Forgot how the song goes. Yeah, any stage jitters of being at Radio City or playing with the orchestra or filming a DVD, they were gone. So at this point, it was just enjoying the moment. Right. Here's the stick bounce I've been waiting for. I wonder which camera you chose. I remember for the Dream Theater one, I opted for the shot that pulled back and caught the whole band.
Let's see, I don't remember. Oh, I stuck to that. Nope, I switched at the last moment.
Yeah, you got the full height of the bounce on the wide shot, so that's why I went with that for the Dream Theater one. So the last song of the evening, the last song of the main set, which is Octavarium, which is an extended intro with Jordan, which I don't know what we're going to be watching. I think we're just going to be watching an empty blue screen. But Jordan did this whole long continuum and then slide guitar intro. Oh, there you go. Maybe we'll get to watch a little of Jordan. This was always my only real break during the show. And
I don't think you take much of a break. I'm pretty sure you walk out and sit on the back of the riser with...
Yeah, but even that's a break.
Well, yeah.
So I guess we get a break now too. We can just sit back and watch them.
Jordan's always fun to watch.
I would bet that this must have been slightly nerve-wracking for him.
Probably.
You know? Like, I was totally comfortable at this point in the show. In fact, I was pretty much comfortable right from the get-go. But I think if I had to do, like, a 5-minute solo spot all by myself, I think
Right.
that might have been pretty scary. And like I said earlier, I mean, we've played to bigger audiences, but it just...
Filming everything.
Yeah, when you're filming and, you know... That was the one thing with the latest Dream Theater DVD, the Chaos in Motion DVD. It was, being that it's just multiple shows throughout the whole tour, you don't have that single show pressure.
Right.
You know, obviously when we did this and when we did Budokan, because it's a single show, well, you get the benefit of being able to have a big budget production and, you know, time for pre-production and, you know, so in the case of Score and Budokan, they were, you know, big productions. Whereas Chaos in Motion, most of that footage just from my archives, and you know, there wasn't any kind of big film shoot or anything like that. So, on one hand, you don't get the big production, but you do get something that's just kind of like another show, getting
Right.
a little taste of everything, different locations, different venues, outdoor shows, indoor shows, small clubs and big arenas and everything in between. So they each have their advantage.
I'm just waiting for the Blu-ray version of all of them.
Well, we could surely do Blu-ray of this and Budokan. I guess you could do Blu-ray of anything, but true
Right.
HD. This was shot HD as well as Budokan, so that could be in the works down the road. Rhino owns the rights to both of these DVDs, so it's up to them if they start getting in the market of Blu-ray, but it's surely possible. I know we ended up cutting, I think, a 2-hour version of this to be shown on HD channels.
Yeah.
I think even now they still
show it on
show it.
it's MTV's HD channel. They do concerts.
But I don't think it's the full
It's not.
thing. Yeah, they asked me
I'm
like.
pretty sure it's cut down to an hour.
Oh, maybe it's an hour. Okay.
Yeah, because I've actually seen it. And it does look really good.
I guess I've never seen it in true high def. Because I don't think I ever saw the broadcast.
Yeah, I've seen it on a few times. Like, that channel has nothing really to play, so they rerun a bunch of stuff.
Maggie's got her own seat here in the theater now. She's no longer in my lap. She's fast asleep in the seat next to us. Now, Jordan switches over to the pedal steel here. Well, not pedal steel, I guess lap steel. I guess is the difference. A lot of people that didn't see this tour always assumed that it's John Petrucci playing this intro, but it's actually Jordan. And it was directly inspired from the Yes tour that we did before doing the Octavarium album. We toured with Yes, and Steve Howe would play the lap steel guitar every night. And Jordan was really interested in getting into it. Jordan's always into the gadgets. He's always good for...
Yeah, he is the gadget guy for sure.
I call him Inspector Gadget. Every day we come into the studio, he's got something new that he's playing with. Some new device, or not only just musical, but also
Phones.
yeah, phones and computers and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I remember when he first got his BlackBerry a couple years ago, he was emailing me, how do I do this, how do I do that?
Nah.
Yeah, which is very cool. I'm a gadget freak myself, so it's nice to know I'm not the only one.
There's not much to talk about in this portion.
I guess I could have cut this, but
Too late now.
too late now. I liked it so much I wanted to keep it.
I noticed you went for the multi-camera shoot. Multi-camera.
Yeah. I switched.
You switched cameras
Yeah,
angles.
just because you're walking in right here.
That was always a nice break, that moment of the show. Alright, back to rocking. Of course, Jamshid, the conductor and arranger, had my cowbell in his ears as well. I think he had an inner ear or something, and obviously he needed to hear that. Well, I guess we kind of talked about that with Goodnight Kiss when I was counting them. I did the same for Vacant, actually. We didn't see Vacant on here, but I also used the
Okay.
cowbell to...
And there's James standing back there. I didn't notice that before.
Oh yeah, he's getting ready to... on this tour he didn't have... Oh, God bless you. What's the sneeze count up to?
I think that's 4.
Yeah, on the latest tour, James. Oh, look, I'm sitting with James with my arm around James.
Okay, I wasn't crazy. I knew
Look at that.
I knew that was in there.
See, I didn't even know that. Oh, that was a special moment there. Good times, good times. Well, this is before James had a little tent set up behind the stage, and the whole Systematic Chaos area, a little world set up behind John Petrucci's cabinets, and he would hang out during these long breaks, just drinking tea and doing whatever he does. And the chick that played flute right there is the same one that played it on the album.
Does he have a porta potty in his tent?
No, I think he pees in my Gatorade. That's why. That's why I don't
taste in one there.
That's why I don't drink the yellow Gatorade. I tell Eric only the blue stuff, so I know that it's the real thing.
It's clean.
Still get a big break here. Spraying down.
Staying hydrated.
Yeah, this is a like a 20-25 minute song, but really the first 8 minutes or so is really not.
Jordan and James.
Yeah, except for the power chords. I think on the album, I actually do cymbal work throughout this whole section.
Yeah.
And I think at the beginning of the Octavarium tour, I was doing it, but then after a while, I just really enjoyed the extended break. So I would just enter here. Mama, just killed a man.
You know, the first time I heard that, I thought about that too.
Really? Mama, just. What's the matter, Maggie? Did it scare you? Once again, I haven't heard this song since this night. On this latest tour, we only played the very, very ending of this. This is one of my favorite songs of ours. I like all the long ones. I like this and 6 Degrees and Change of Seasons and Presence of Enemies. I remember for so long, the Change of Seasons was like the epic
song. Yeah,
you know, it was because it was the first time we were doing like a 20-25 minute song. But since then, we've done a 40 and we've done this, and this is 20 something, and Presence of Enemies is 20 something. And a slew of epics now.
Yeah, I think the Presence of Enemies is taking my number one slot.
Really?
Yeah, I just totally dig that, especially the second half.
I'm just watching the orchestra right there. My eyes just stuck on the mirror. Oh, I guess, you know what? Maybe it's a tempo thing. I don't know. And now I'm done again. It's like, okay, that's all you get. Get another break.
Little teaser. I'll play some cowbell for you.
There's a bootleg that just surfaced. I just read about it on the forum last week. A bootleg that has my No, it has from Progressive Nation in Cleveland this past spring, and it's a bootleg that has my cowbell in the mix, the silent cowbell.
Well, that's not good.
No.
That means it came from somebody inside.
Yeah, it's a big to do in the Dream Theater camp of where it came from, but I've seen mentioned on the forum that there's ways. I'm giving away bootlegging tips right now, but there's ways that people can access the wireless signal from the stage with like different devices. Whoa! I don't remember that one.
You can put an eye out with that one.
So anyway, somehow someone was able. Oh, I think
That makes sense. I never thought about that.
You know what?
That does make sense.
To get back to the screen for a minute, I looked away at the moment. I think that was a stick drop right there. That wasn't a throw. I was looking at you at that moment and I missed what happened, but I saw a flying stick and I think I might have dropped my stick at that one moment.
I was looking at you, so I don't know.
Yeah, we both missed it. I don't think I dropped. I usually don't drop many sticks, actually. It's just the stick throws that I miss, but it's very, very rare that I actually drop one by accident. But I think that might have been one of those moments. Also, this latest bootleg that has the cowbell, it also has John Petrucci's background vocals like way up in the mix. So you can really hear that for the first time. I mean, my vocals you can hear on this and the Budokan second audio tracks, but John's isolated vocals have
that should kind of help.
Never been heard until now.
That should help you figure out where it came from.
Not really. Apparently, it was somebody that was able to access the feeds, through the air.
You don't think it was somebody? It wasn't an inside job?
I don't think so. The only other thing I could think of was Progressive Nation. There's other bands that we were letting use our monitor desk.
Oh, okay.
So there's also that possibility as well. Requesting a hand spray. And Eric is on it. He doesn't miss. Look at him. He's ready for more.
I don't think he lets go of that bottle.
Actually.
No, he does right here because he takes your water and pours it into the bottle. So you drink the same water. So you usually get Fiji on your hands.
No, this was a Poland Spring night. There's a stick bounce, if I remember correctly. It's a throw. And I missed it. This damn drum cam. It's giving away all the secrets. Maybe my batting average is around 300 for this one.
I might go with 5 or 6.
Jordan's playing the keyboard that's his modular keyboard, which was always a problem on this tour because he's got his back to the audience and there's no lights there. And he was doing this big solo. There was no way of highlighting it to the audience. We couldn't put it on the screens because there was no light and no camera back there. So he's always playing this whole solo with his back to the audience and nothing showing it on the screens. But I think on the scored DVD we were able to actually get a camera in there. But even then you could see it's very dark back there. And John, I believe, on this section are playing each other's guitars. I think right here that they start fretting each other's guitars.
Who's that sitting off to the side of the stage? Is that Jordan's stick? I guess it just went dark now. Can't see him.
I don't know. Probably would be. We normally don't have many people on the sides of the stage other than our techs, but maybe our families. But I think we even asked our families not to come up for this show because of the filming and everything. Yeah. Normally my kids will come up behind the kit, but this particular show was kind of, everybody kind of kept their distance. God, I didn't even see my family this day. I've never done that before. I asked them if they could just do me a favor and I'll just see them after the show.
Right.
Because I was just so distracted. I mean, not only with the preparations and the orchestra and the playing, but I was also directing the DVD. So all afternoon I was dealing with all the technicalities of the shoot. So it was already a stressful environment, and playing New York is always incredibly stressful for us because we have so many family and friends. So I knew this would have just been, you know, too crazy if we had family and friends hanging about before the gig. So I didn't even get to see my family till afterwards. So that moment when I waved to them and I walked beside you was like literally my first time seeing them that day.
I'm trying to remember what we did. Usually, when I come to New York, I hook up with Marlene and we do something. But for the life of me, I can't remember what we did this day.
Maybe you may not have even seen them because they were.
Not have.
I think my dad was in from California.
That's right.
And they were
right.
with them, and
You're right.
this was definitely different circumstance than a usual gig. Now the animation comes in. The Octobrand animation that's on the screens. The orchestra did not play any of this with us. I think basically they were doing all the vocal stuff in this song, but this stuff we left with just us.
That was a fan that did the video, wasn't it?
Yeah, this really talented guy. I think he's from, oh God, forgive me if I'm wrong, but Finland or Norway. I think Finland. His name is Mika, and Jordan, I think Jordan found him online, and he did this animation. And then on the latest tour, he did the animation for The Dark Eternal Night, which is on the latest DVD.
Yeah, he is really good.
We've had some incredibly talented fans help us out with stuff like this. Well, another guy is this guy Robert Medina down in Australia. He did a bunch of the Ant videos and stuff on the latest Systematic Chaos tour, and he's done some other really cool stuff for us. And in a lot of cases, these are just really talented fans that either post something on one of our forums or contact us, and in some of these cases, we've ended up hooking up with them and utilizing their great talents.
It's one of the many benefits of the internet.
Yeah. God, I forgot about this. I haven't heard this song in years. Some crazy shit going on. This is the Jingle Bells reference right here. Jingle Hell. It's a Steve Howe moment right there. Just asked Eric for something. Getting ready to spray. Must have asked him for that because he's getting ready with the spray bottle. How the hell am I going to actually have a moment?
That's what I was going to say. This is not a good time for that.
I guess Eric realized that too. He fine. You probably hear some good moments on the isolated drum track. Some of the singing. Oh, I can't even. I don't even have the. After 2.5 hours of talking, I don't have the energy to get into it. But man, some of the nuggets and stuff involved with Octavarium. I'm just thinking about the lyrics and stuff I wrote for the song. The way all of those are referring to the previous songs on the album, and we did some deep shit with that album. A lot of conceptual nuggets all throughout that album and every song. It's a good moment there where you could really see James, the veins popping out of James's neck on the Dream Theater version of this DVD. I want to see the audience light them up. 2, 3. Oh, they didn't come in. They didn't come in on cue, and I was looking around hoping that everybody else was going to
follow.
Yeah. There's a high, very, very high falsetto part. On the latest tour, I do a Michael Anthony scream right there.
I love that.
Right around now is probably when I'm getting the word from our manager, Frank Solomon, who, of course, is keeping an eye on the clock, knowing that once the clock strikes 11, we're getting hit with a $10,000 a minute fine. And it's probably right around now that Frank is starting to look at his clock, his watch, and motion to me.
Shit.
And I think at one point either he comes over or he tells Eric to tell me what time it was and that we're not going to make curfew. And so you'll see at the end of this song we run off really quick, and the break before Metropolis is
It's really short.
yeah, really short. And then you'll see at the end of the show we'll probably be done talking at that point, but or maybe not. But you'll see the coming out at the end of the encore. And the end of the show was a lot quicker than usual as well.
Yeah.
I guess I've seen this asked a million times, so I might as well answer it. Why we haven't done a band commentary for like the Budokan DVD or the Score DVD, and there's probably many reasons, but in both of those cases, you know, the tour was when I was working on the DVD. The tour was over. Everybody had gone home. Everybody lives in different places, and I've already tried to pack those DVDs with so much shit. The Score DVD and the Budokan DVD, and the label has been incredibly accommodating to whatever I want to do to put on these DVDs. That the couple times I mentioned doing a commentary, they were just like, you know what, we've spent so much money on this DVD, you know, to bring everybody together, fly James out, set up a day in the studio, and you know, it's just there was just not enough space, not enough time, not enough budget, and frankly, it's okay because it could be exhausting doing these commentaries each and every time. But hopefully over the past 2.5 hours there's been some insight. In fact, there's probably very little insight in terms of drumming. It's more about what goes behind the scenes with the show and everything. Alright, at this point, Frank Solomon is on stage left, freaking out.
Come on.
Oh, look at Eric is showing me. He's either showing me his watch or he's pointing me to me to go off stage right. Because I think that's where Frank wanted to talk to me.
Thanks a lot, New York. Good night.
Yeah,
He was trying to yell something at you.
I remember going off the stage left at this point. And you'll see we waste no time getting right back up there. Because it's probably, Metropolis is about 10 minutes long. And it's probably around 10:52 or so at this point in the night. And we knew we were definitely going to hit curfew. And I will say, even though we got hit with a $30,000 fine, I will say that the promoter paid for half of it. I think he split it with us, which was
cool.
an incredibly cool gesture. Just because I guess it was such a cool evening, and
I'm sure he made some cash off the deal.
yeah, no doubt. But if we didn't have such a tight curfew, probably would have played a few more songs. And this is actually playing the beginning of Metropolis, which...
It's rare.
Yeah, I don't think we had played the beginning to Metropolis since pre-Images and Words live performances back in the very, very early days when we used to play this live before Images and Words came out. We would play the intro like this, but I think every other time since Images and Words, we always had the pre-recorded intro, but we figured we might as well utilize the orchestra to play it. And I remember when we were rehearsing Metropolis with the orchestra, there was a section in the middle, I guess I'll point it out later, it was just so ridiculous for them to play, we just stopped at some point, they were just all laughing hysterically over the ridiculousness of the riffs. This is one song that has been on so many live albums, but always very different versions. What I think I'm saying, what time is it?
This is gonna cost me what?
There's something in the monitors.
The smile I've done, I'm right to remain. She carried a gift from her home. The night shed a tear to tell her fear and of sorrow and pain shall never go.
Oh man.
No, I've run out of ideas here.
We should have opened up your laptop. You could have opened up the floor to some questions. Do we still have the chat room on the website? We do.
Yeah.
Jeez, I haven't popped in there in years.
I haven't either.
Do people use it?
I'm fairly sure. It's not like it used to be because the news group servers are considered very insecure, and a lot of hosting companies won't let you run them on your servers anymore because people can pass viruses and stuff to other people very easily. So where we're at now and the place we were before, if they catch you running one of those servers, they'll immediately shut your server down. So it's an outside service.
We haven't done a chat on the website in a long time.
We haven't. Maybe when we launch the new site, we could do that.
Okay, I'm into it. Good. Do you see yourself on the Score DVD at all?
Do not.
I'm on it.
You're on it quite a bit, which is probably a good thing.
I don't think any of my family made it on there.
No, I don't.
The only one of my friends that made it on there, at the very end, you see Eddie Trunk and Chris Jericho. There's a shot of them at the very, very end of the show. But otherwise, I don't think any of my family or friends are seen on it.
I've been to 2 or 3 DVDs now, and I haven't been on any of them. No, I take that back. The LA bootleg. I'm on some of the extra footage.
Well, you get to do... This is your third commentary track.
That's true.
How many people get to do commentaries?
I guess just me.
Well, I've done... The only other people I've done commentaries with, other than band members, are Paul Gilbert. Well, I guess he's considered a band member, so no, that doesn't count. My dad, My dad joined me for the Yellow Matter Custard commentary. And then Setless Scotty joined me and Paul Gilbert for the Cygnus commentary. Cygnus and Sea Monsters. But you've done this and Budokan and Transatlantic, right?
Yep.
The Bridge Across Forever drum cam one. I guess pretty soon you'll have a new studio drum cam to work on.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a nice loogie.
That had a lot of spray to it.
This is the section coming up, I think, that the orchestra we ended up taking out of the scores because it was just... Oh, no, I think it already passed. It was the guitar keyboard unison thing. When we were in rehearsals, we just stopped at some point, and they're like, no way. We can't physically play this. Not meant for classically trained musicians.
Yeah, I can't see a violinist playing that very easily.
It's strictly for metal shredders.
Yeah. Looks like Eric's had a long day. He's back there yawning. What time do they have to start loading in?
What's that?
What time do they have to start setting up?
They load in 8 or 9 o'clock every morning. Have you not watched the documentary on the Chaos and Motion DVD?
I have not yet. I have a young kid now. I don't get much extra time. I watched the concert and that's about it now.
There's a great 90-minute documentary on the Chaos and Motion DVD that's all about what goes on every day on tour. And Eric is actually noticeably missing in the crew interviews on that, mainly because when all the crew guys were getting interviewed, Eric instead chose to do these really funny skits. And when we were putting the documentary together, the skits really just kind of got in the way of the documentary.
Oh.
So I decided to pull them out of the documentary and use them as Easter eggs instead. So Eric gets a very big starring role in the Easter eggs, but he's conspicuously missing from the documentary itself. Yeah, our crew is, I mean, we talk about it a bit on the Chaos and Motion documentary, but our crew is really great guys, hard workers, and we're a demanding band. I should say, me specifically, a very demanding person to work for because, I mean, we all ask for a lot, but all of us in our individual worlds, I mean, just my world alone is incredibly demanding, you can see, but I also have a big, I'm very anal with everything from the lighting cues and the video cues and the music that's played before the show and during the intermission, when the lights go up and when they come down, and I'm very, very anal about all that stuff. And our crew guys, they're all just true professionals that make the show run like clockwork. You know, it usually takes a few days, a few shows to get everybody into the swing, but all of them are really amazing guys. I watched this. I remember there was a kid air drumming, and he got it. I remember.
Sweet.
Yeah, there was this blonde-haired kid that was in the audience, air drumming to everything, and I aimed for him with that stick and made it to him. So I think I met him on this last tour. He introduced himself to me. Anyway, we're winding down here. If you've made it this far in the commentary, congratulations.
You should get some kind of reward.
You should, but you're not going to. Okay, I'm mooning you guys right now, but unfortunately you can't see it. That's your reward.
There you go.
Anyway, in closing, as if it hasn't been said a million times already, this was an incredibly special evening. By the way, that was the shortest final chord of Metropolis ever because of the curfew.
Right.
Normally we'll hold out that last chord, but at this point we knew we had to get the fuck out of Dodge. And even this goodbye, and I was in such a rush I didn't even take my ears out. My inner ear monitors are still in. Normally they'll come out, we'll take our time, we'll go through the whole audience. But anyway, this was an incredibly special night, and I remember thinking the next day, what the hell are we going to do to top this?
Right.
And I still often wonder. But hopefully we'll have a few more nights as special as this, in the future.
I'm sure you will.
But right, for now, this was really the pinnacle for this period of the band, for sure. Anyway, thank you. There's your name, Mike. I'd like to take this moment to thank you for putting this DVD together.
Thanks for letting me do it. It's always a blast.
That's a great audience shot.
Yeah.
It's really a good one. Anyway, thank you, everybody. For those of you that were there that night, thanks for sharing it with us. And for those of you watching this DVD, thank you for sharing it with us now. And see you soon.
That's a wrap.
All right. Take care.